So this is the left side where you've got the choke mechanism. So this is going to be held by this 10mm little bolt. Get this off. Now you simply have to pull it gently, and it's going to come off because it's held on those two mounting points. Then the choke cable. Next you're going to have to remove those two bolts holding the tank to the frame. Right, now we're going to have to disconnect two fuel lines from the fuel tap. So the first one is this line here. Lovely, that came off. As you can see, this is the line with the filter. And the second fuel line is the one that supplies the fuel to the carburetors, which is this one here. Okay, that comes off as well. So before we connect the Carb Tune Pro, our balancing tool, we're going to have to remove 4 of those screws here. Those will allow plugging up the tool, as those are balancing ports. So that's the first one. So that's what they look like. First one removed. And here's the second one. And now do the same on the other side. Okay, now your Carb Tune Pro comes with those adapters with little gaskets here. So what you've got to do now is you've got to screw them in, those ports, and that will allow you plugging in your Carb Tune Pro. As you can see, access is somewhat hindered here, so I'm using a screwdriver. Okay, second one in, excellent. Alright, and so as you can see, my Carb Tune Pro is hanging here. I've got 4 hoses connected to 4 ports in the air intakes. So this is the port number 1. That's port number 2. And then we go 3 and 4. So of course, the hose from Carb Tune Pro in line number 1 goes to cylinder 1. The second one goes to cylinder 2, the third one goes to cylinder 3, and the fourth one goes to cylinder 4. Of course, now you need auxiliary fuel supply, so I've got this fuel bottle here. About half a liter should be enough for the whole procedure, and that is going to be connected to the main hose supplying fuel to the carburetors. So this is the one, the fuel filter, and also the second fuel line has to be blocked with something, so I use my small screwdriver. Of course, engine has to be warmed up before the procedure. I did it just 5 minutes ago. Let it run until it gets to operating temperature, and then you're ready to go. Just one thing I need to tell you: once you've started your bike up, it's probably going to run at about 1200 RPM. Then you need to use that little knob there, which is that one there, in the middle of the carburetors. That's between carb 2 and 3, and that's your idle adjuster. And you're going to have to adjust the idle to about 1800 RPM. So once you've done that, we can then start the procedure of synchronizing the carbs. And so here we've got your adjustment screw for the carburetors 1 and 2. We're going to have the same adjustment screw between carburetors 2 and 3. And you're going to have another one, the third one, between carburetors 3 and 4. So obviously you're going to be turning the screwdriver left or right to adjust how much air those two carbs are taking. But before you actually do that, you're going to have to release this little nut here. You see there's a little nut here, and this is an 8mm nut, and the access is quite difficult. So what I've done is I'm using this little socket, 8mm socket, with this extension. Therefore you've got to loosen up all 3, and that way you're going to be able to make adjustments. Alright, let's then start it up.
A few moments later.
Right then, so as you can see, it looks pretty good. Ideally what you would want is the middle 2 lines being a bit lower than the other 2. And in this case it's kind of close, so I think I'm just gonna call it a day. Cheers!